Hello my beautiful friends and welcome to Tailor Made Beauty by Kris. Today, wow, we've got a big project. I am going to go through all 84 of my eyeshadow palettes and decide which ones need to go away. So grab a beverage of your choice, settle in, get comfortable, and let's get to this. What I will do is kind of group it by brands and put timestamps down below. So if you're only interested in certain ones, you can go to that part. But it is going to be a long one. It has been almost 2 years since I have done this, and I'm in desperate need of doing it again. I am starting with my more expensive, most expensive brands palettes. So the number one that I'm starting with here is Pat McGrath. This is the Celestial Divinity Luxe Quad in Fleur Fantasia. And I remember saying something about like circus peanut with this one, but it's they're lovely, lovely colors, and especially I'm not gonna swatch. Okay, I hope I'm not gonna swatch something out of everything, but that light lavender color is divine. I love it. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping this. I can't imagine myself getting rid of any Pat McGrath palettes. Here is the Rose Decadence palette. I love the packaging on this. It's the cardboard packaging, but with a really, substantial magnetic closure on it. And here's the color story in it. Exactly what you would expect. And, you know, gosh, it's like seeing old friends. Like, I'm like, oh, I want to go swap out my look and put this on right now. So, yep, that's staying. Pat McGrath, the Golden Opulence palette. Okay, my real only complaint with this is a horrible design. Just horrible. It doesn't stay open. However, the colors are gorgeous. So yeah, definitely keeping that. You know, one thing I did after my last purge was I listed out, I listed out all of my eyeshadow palettes, and I went in Excel, because I'm an engineer, and I assigned them all a random number, and then I sorted them numerically. And you can see I got into it a little bit. My idea was a palette a week, and that way I would use everything. I think right here is when COVID hit, when we locked down. So yeah, that was a major hiccup in that plan. But I think I need to do something like that again because, all right, here, this is the Mothership 7 Divine Rose, the first Divine Rose, which means this one is the Divine Rose 2. Definitely keeping those. And then, of course, the one that I just picked up is the Mothership 9 Utopian Dream, which I love. Anyway, I did learn there's something to be said for using a palette for several days. You really get to know it. And last time I decluttered, I did it with ones that I was kind of on the fence with, and that really, I think I got rid of most of them actually. But, okay, so there's the Pat McGrath haul. Let's move on. I should also say I am not interested in the Pat McGrath, the holiday offering. It's like an 18 pan palette. I don't like big palettes, so unfortunately I'm passing on that. Let's move into Charlotte Tilbury. And let's start with Starry Eyes to Hypnotize. The packaging, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And this is one of those where you get, there's 3 per. Of course you can mix and match, but this one had Happy Glow, Love Glow, Dream Glow, and Seduce Glow. Yeah, and I open it up and I just want to go redo my eye makeup. So yeah, that's a sign of keeping it. Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize. Oh, yeah, okay. I promise, get me through some of these luxury expensive brands and I'll stop with the deep sigh every time I open it, but here we go. This is another gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I will say, I think there are 2 that are this long form factor that she's doing for the holidays. There's one I'm interested in, there's one I'm not interested in. I need to go look at that. Right, these 2 were around the time of the anniversary sale. Instant Look of Love in a palette in Glowing Beauty and Pretty Blushed Beauty. These are full face, mostly full face palettes. Yes, and I think, you know, if I ever get to travel again, they'll be great for traveling. They're pretty. They looked great on. They're beautiful. Yes, I'm keeping those. This palette, the Icon palette, you know, she hasn't done much in this form factor. And this is a really bold palette. I mean, sorry about the hair there. I mean, you can certainly do some more subdued looks, but there's some serious color here. And you know what? Those are really fun to use every once in a while. So I like that. Okay, I have a confession. I totally forgot I even owned this. This is the Hollywood, the Flawless Eye Filter palette. It's a quad, right? She has a lot of quads. I don't own many of her quads. And there's the color story. In this one, again, it's very subdued, very subtle. I am learning to appreciate a subdued, subtle eye. That's what I'm rocking today. And last but not least, Easy Smoky Eye Palette, split into day and night. This was from the anniversary sale 2 years ago. And I did a video on this, and it's it got me a surprising number of views. And it is a gorgeous palette. So it's that long, skinny form factor on the pans, which some people don't like. I don't mind them because I don't use real big brushes. But again, that's a great, great palette. So Charlotte Tilbury, no surprise, keeping it all. Moving on to our gal, Natasha Denona, Glam Palette. I was surprised how much I love this palette. It's not a color story that I have a lot of, right? It's cools, it's neutrals, there's no orange, there's no cranberry, there's no plum in here. And yeah, this is a palette that would be fun to use for an entire week and really explore a bunch of looks. At the other end of the spectrum, here we go with the Sunrise palette, which is golds and cranberries and rusts and all kinds of really fabulous colors in this palette. And yeah, that's another one. Like, okay, this Aster shade, oh, so beautiful. And then, like, the palette that should totally be in my wheelhouse, the Bronze palette. Again, this is a palette that you need to spend a lot of time with, because when you just look at it, you're like, oh, they're kind of a lot of duplicate colors, but when you start working with them, you see the sometimes not so subtle differences when you get something on your eyelid versus in the pan. But the major problem that Natasha had on this palette is there's nothing light. There are no highlighter colors. There's, you know, I'm not big into depotting palettes, but that's one nice thing. Natasha makes it pretty easy with these holes on the back. But this is one that you need to depot a couple of them and put something neutral in there. So that's one that I would use with something else. Moving down now in size, one of her larger 5-pan palettes. This is the Camel palette. I love it. It's gorgeous. It reminds me how beautiful neutrals can be. Definitely keeping that. I am not going to open this one and tip it because this shade, as you can, well, maybe I can do it really carefully. That shade, as you can see, broke. There we go. This is such a fun, bold palette. And if you follow me on Insta, I did use this bright blue the other day. I mean, it is amazing. And I put it over the Pat McGrath, that wand, that, what is it? It's the clear stuff you put on your eye and your shimmers really pop. Oh my gosh, it was fabulous. Anyway, I got this like off of Poshmark or Mercury, the other one, or something. And yeah, I like it. It's fun. Then minis. I love the Natasha Denona minis. You know, they retail at $25. Sometimes you pick them up for $12.50. The mini Lila palette. Honestly, I mean, it's bold for sure. And I want to say this was one of the ones that I used for a week. And really, I mean, these two colors, you can do a totally neutral look out of this palette. You can line your lower lashes with one of the bolder colors and then do top out of the neutrals. I mean, it's, you know, you don't have to do a crazy look out of this palette. You can have just a hint of craziness. So I like it for that. The mini retro palette. Yeah, you know, again, you can put together some great looks out of this palette. This sort of metallic mossy green is a color that I don't have anywhere else. And yeah, I feel like I need to spend, you know, 3 or 4 days with this palette. Have some quality time with the palette. Also in colors I don't wear very often, the mini gold palette. And here again, there's this, okay, I just don't do a lot of green. I'm not sure why, but you know, I'd like to spend a day or two experimenting with it. I'm keeping all of these, by the way. Big surprise. Here is the mini nude palette. All right, another study in nudes from Natasha. The mini sunset. All right, there's that cranberry color that I love so much. So much fun to play with that palette. I should have mentioned back when I popped up the mini retro palette, I have no interest in the large, the $65 retro palette she just came out with. Yeah, no, not going there. The mini love palette. Yeah, I guess I feel it when I feel the need for a plummy pinky fix, and I was surprised. I give this palette a good review. I was pleasantly surprised with what I could do with it, so there's that. And last but not least, the mini glam palette. That's another really, okay, can I stop saying really great palette? Sorry, you're gonna hear it a lot. My bad. Wayne Goss, and yes, as I am shooting this, he just previewed the new one, the Tourmaline. Oh, yes, I will be purchasing it, no doubt. Let's start. This is the Pearl Moonstone palette. And again, you know, there's grays in here. This, there we go. And it's a beautiful gray. And the Celestial, oh, that blue, right? So yes, I'm definitely keeping that. And you know, it's just a love fest coming up here on the other two ones. The Imperial Topaz palette. This is the one that started it. It's fabulous. The quality on these, they're so easy to work with, and you get huge pans, huge color. This is the Pearl palette, and you know what? I mean, you can use these colors on your face, right? This one, look how pretty that is, right? Be a gorgeous blush. So yes, definitely keeping the Wayne Goss and definitely picking up the new one. I feel like this is a major blast from the past. Anastasia Beverly Hills. Like right when these palettes came out, right back in, what is that, 2-3 years ago, the Soft Glam palette, beautiful shadows, great color story. Then that rose pink, I mean, is just divine. Norvina, right? She really, I feel like, was the one that started with the pinks and the purples in the Norvina palette. It's got the same rose gold in it. What? Oh, rose pink and rose gold. All right. That would be the rose gold there. And Modern Renaissance. Okay, again with the deep cranberries, gray blues. So I love all those. And then it was like, what was it, Riviera, and she had a couple collabs, and it just went on all these bright colors. I don't think that was for my demographic, but she's got one coming out for the holidays, and I've got to say I'm thinking about it, just because it's been a long time since I spent any money on ABH, and yeah, I might be picking that up. Keeping these. Moving right along, going from tiny to big from Violet Voss. This is the Petite Pro for the Apricot palette. And I remember let me get that. I like the protective case because it fits over it, which is really nice, especially on these little palettes. I remember I took this palette, we did like a week in the Four Corners area, and this was the only palette I brought with me. It was delightful. So many great looks. Berry Burst. So Violet often does these littler palettes, so you know, if you're trying to watch your budget, sometimes these are, you know, the little ones are a great way to go. Super colors, love the pinks in here. Also the Creme Brulee. Yeah, it's like a bigger version of that apricot palette because it's got that pop of orange right there. It's just a really beautiful neutral. And I love the quality of Violet Voss's eyeshadows. Again, super easy to work with, really blendable. The Pro palette, the My Holy Grail. I think this came in a subscription box. I love it. Okay, yes, it's a big palette. No, I would not spend my money on a big palette just because they can be really overwhelming, right? I'm not a makeup artist, so a lot of times what I have found, you can look at the columns or sometimes the quads depending on who's doing the palette, and then you can find looks like this one. I think totally works if you consider each column to be a quad. That's actually a smart way to put those together. Anyway, yes, I am keeping all my Violet Voss. All right, I have two palettes from Clé de Peau, and one of them I have the case for, which means I can't see what number palette it is. It is the very neutral one, and these are beautiful. Gorgeous, luxurious, easy to work with. And then, oh, I love this color story. This is the 313. So beautiful. Still waiting. I need to pick up a case for that. This is how Clé de Peau works. You buy the four, you buy the case separately, you put them together. I'm keeping both of those. They are really beautiful eyeshadows. Okay. Marc Jacobs. This was actually one, I got rid of one. I had one of these that was in white. I can't even remember what the name of it was, but I sold it on Poshmark or Mercury or something like that. This is the Scandal Lust palette. Yes. And don't be freaked out by that. Look, it's a totally neutral palette, and then boom, one color that you can pop or ignore. So I'm keeping that, and this one is Glambition. Yeah, again, it's just a nice basic, but you could make a really beautiful look out of it, and that black has some sparkle in it. Oh, yeah, I need to spend some time with this palette. All right, and I can't wait to see how Marc comes back. I only have 2 MAC palettes. I got both of them at Nordstrom during the sale. This is from this year's sale. This is the View from the Top Eye Kit in the Light. We did have a weekend away. I took this palette. It's beautiful, easy to work with, love it. And then from a few years ago, Nordy Girl. For some reason, the different pan size in this doesn't drive me nuts. Normally different size pans drive me nuts. And my super happy memory with this palette is we went to Italy for 2 weeks for my 50th birthday, and this was the eyeshadow palette I took on that trip. So, of course, I'm going to keep it. Plus, I love the palette. It's great. Moving on to Tarte. And Tarte comes out with a lot of stuff. And I'm a big fan of Tarte. But I feel like, once you have this many palettes, what else are they going to do for a color story that you don't already own? Rainforest of the Sea. Okay, it drives me a little bit nuts to have a round palette. But the packaging is lovely, sparkly pink. The color story is great. I will keep that. This palette, really fun. What is the name of this palette? High Performance Neutrals. Is that the name of the palette? It can't be. Can it be? I don't see any other name on the back here. It's the one that's shaped like a cocktail. And you know what? It's beautiful colors, right? I love that's the color. That's my wheelhouse. Those are my colors. That's my happy place. But honestly, for me, it just feels kind of almost embarrassing to use a palette that looks like this at my age. So somebody else is going to love this. Boom, one. We've got one that's going to go find a new home. It's a start. Oh, the Tartelette Toasted palette. Yes. Talking about my colors. Love, and yeah, they're scented, but okay, I'm keeping that. This little pineapple-y one, this was eyeshadow palette. That's all it's called on the palette. Eyeshadow palette. Oh, yeah, pretty colors, right? A great, easy to use color story. I don't know that I've ever actually used it. I mean, look at that. I don't think it looks like I swatched something maybe, but that was it. Oh, do I keep it? I think I would enjoy using it. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'll keep it. You know what? I'm gonna make that maybe pile like I did last time, and what that's gonna mean, I gotta use it, and then I decide whether I keep it or not. The Sugar Rush line from Tarte. Cutesy, I think too cutesy. Barely used, gonna go away. And this palette, the Clay Play Volume 2. It is a face palette. It's got the blush, the bronzer, a highlighter, and then the eyeshadow colors. And, it's really pretty. honestly, I'm probably never going to use it. The good news is I've got some friends, and my oldest is off at college, so they are making new friends. So I've got more outlets that, you know, the chances of finding somebody who will really like the palette are going up. So, wow, okay, I'm keeping 2, and then maybe 3. Huda, I've got her little 9-pan palettes. This is the Coral Obsessions. And I'm not in love with it anymore. Someone else is going to enjoy it. But the Mauve Obsession, oh yes, because mauves and berries are super in for this fall, and so I am going to enjoy using that. Too Faced. Okay, so my most recent was this year's Christmas offering, the Cinnamon Swirl. I love this palette, all right? I haven't opened it. No, I have used it. Oh, okay, the scent. I have used it a few times since I shot my video, and it is lovely. And then from 2 years ago, right? Gingerbread Spice. I still love this color story. I say this is like one of my fall and winter only palettes. I mean, certainly you can wear colors anytime, but it just feels fall and wintry to me. The White Peach palette. I belong to a makeup Facebook group. I know a lot of you viewers are also in that. And pre-pandemic, just lots of us would post our makeup looks every day. It is a super warm, encouraging community. And every once in a while we would have challenges, and one of them was the White Peach palette. And so I picked it up. Yep, smells like peach. And again, this is, you know, it's a great palette. And this this peach passion shade there, wow, what a special color that is. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that because it's gonna be one when it comes around to this being, you know, the 3 or 4 days. I'm gonna love that one. Also then, okay, this packaging I think is the best. This is Cocktail Party from Too Faced, Palm Springs Dreams. The packaging is so adorable, so fabulous. And it's got, you know, it's got a great color story. And there's the, you know, although, yes, I'm kind of remembering it. That blue, it's a super intense, but not quite as fabulous as I wanted it to be. But it's, you know, I mean, Swizzle Stick. That's that pink one there. Oh, gosh, I don't know. You know what? I think this is a palette that somebody else is going to love. So, bye-bye Palm Springs. And last but not least, this is a mini, was it last year? The Hot Buttered Rum. I do actually like the minis, you know. Again, how many times can I say that's the palette that's in my wheelhouse? But it is. It's neutrals. It's got a rust and that kind of goldy color. You know, it's a pretty color. I will keep that. This year they have something about fruitcake, and I want to go see it. But yeah, I'm going to be tempted by that. How many of you are familiar with the brand Alter Ego? If you like high-end palettes, but you do not have the budget or the desire to spend the money, you need to go to Alter Ego. So they dupe palettes. You know which one this is? Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry, right? And instead of the 50 whatever that palette or 40 whatever that palette was, this palette was like $16. How about this one? Yep, you can call it Natasha Denona. I can't even remember what the heck palette this is a dupe of, but you can totally tell it's a dupe of that Natasha Denona palette. And the quality is really good. And, you know, especially for the price, usually they're $12 to $16. It's great. And here is another, this is one is the Sahara palette. It's another Natasha Denona dupe. And, I'm just not going to reach for these two. And yeah, I'm not going to reach for them. So these two are going to go away. The sultry knockout, the Temptress, that's a nice, cool palette, and I will keep this one. They just duped one of the Pat McGrath. I think it was Divine Rose 1, I think. Comment down below if you want me to get it and do a head-to-head comparison. Yeah, let me know if you want me to do that. Buxom, Boss Babes, Betty and Dolly. I love the Dolly lip gloss, and it's a really good palette, you know. It's that kind of pinks and neutrals and a little lavender, and then, you know, the yeah, Boss Babe Betty is what I just used for the Angie brush review, so I'm going to keep both of those. I have two ColourPop palettes. I feel like ColourPop puts out a palette a week. I swear, I follow Trend Mood on Insta, and always, here's something new from ColourPop. So honestly, when they're putting out that much product, I kind of lose respect for the brand. Having said that, they're good eyeshadows. This is the California Love palette. And again, I'm going to say it, it's my color story. It's in my wheelhouse. Yes, I could do a week's worth of really beautiful looks with this. But you know what? I have all these colors elsewhere. And I need to get rid of some of them, so bye-bye. And then Night Owl. I'm thinking about keeping this because it is a little bit on the cooler side. And as you can see, I don't have very many cool palettes. I will keep that one. This stack of eyeshadow palettes are all one-offs, meaning I own one from this particular brand. Makeup Obsession. All we have is Now. I grabbed this palette when I did a Target haul. Get Ready With Me. It's a pretty palette. I'm not going to use it. Bye-bye. By Terry, the Paris one. I don't know when this is going to go up, but either I just reviewed this or it's coming up. It's gorgeous. Right? It's that really great neutral plus some plummy, pinky colors. I'm definitely keeping that. Urban Decay, the Born to Run palette. This is such a great palette. If you are adventurous and you are just starting to get into makeup, get this palette. It will not disappoint. I know you can look at it and go, oh my gosh, there are so many scary colors in that if you are new to eyeshadow. They're easy to work with. They're, you know, have fun with it. You know, and a really excellent video to watch for this palette. Oh, and by the way, you can get it at Nordstrom Rack for like 24 bucks now. Mandy Lee, L-E-A. She has a series of videos where she does 7 looks out of a palette, and her 7 look video out of this palette is fantastic. It will give you all kinds of ideas. It will give you all kinds of confidence to use this palette. If I remember, I will link it down below. The Lorac Pro series. This is the Pro Palette 4. And look, I even hit pan. Oh my gosh. That is the first time we've seen that. I hit pan on a color. Yeah, this is another cool neutral with some pops of plums. I'll keep it. Iconic London. This is a good palette. Yeah, I like these colors. I like the color story. They're pretty, they're fun. It's a big palette, so I forget about it. But I will keep it. I'm gonna keep it because I like it. Do any of you remember this? The Lion King, Sir John and Luminous collaboration. Really beautiful, bold, bold colors in this palette to do some striking looks. I want to say Sir John, somebody's makeup artist. Beyonce, Rihanna, J-Lo, somebody. I did a review of this one. And I'm not going to reach for it unless I make myself reach for it, but I will enjoy it, so I will keep it. Oh, okay, when they do shiny sorry, I'm blinding you. When they do shiny packaging and you get fingerprints all over it, just clean it up a little bit. There we go. Patrick Ta. I like this palette. I barely use this palette. I will say the two, I'm not crazy about the two creams. Like yeah, that just doesn't do much for me. But all of this, I'm loving it. I'm keeping it. Tarte. All right. If you're a fan of Tarte, you probably already own this palette. I love it. This was such a great palette. And you could just go down the columns, very easy to use. You've got glitters, metallics, sequins, and mattes. I really hope, this was volume 1, and of course we haven't seen any other color cosmetics from her. Hopefully once all her lawsuits are settled down, she'll have a bunch of products that she launches. I hope so, because that was a really, even though it's big, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. Dose of Colors, the Baked Browns. This I know I got in a subscription box. I was blown away. It's all matte and they are divine. They blend so smoothly, so easily. All right, I gotta show some love to mattes here. I mean, just look at that incredible color payout. Definitely keeping that. And it kind of reminds me, maybe I need to look for some more from Dose of Colors. Like, I need some more palettes. Smashbox. This one is Cover Shot in Ablaze. This is one of the first eyeshadow palettes I bought after I sort of really got into makeup. Prior to my 50s, certainly prior to having my channel, I was like, go buy Clinique or CoverGirl, and one and done, kind of no bold colors, everything neutral. And yeah, this Smashbox palette really launched me. Yeah, I would like to spend some time with that. Dior, I picked this up in one of the more recent Sephora VIB events, and yeah, you know, I'm not ready to get rid of it. I think I really liked it. I've clearly have used it before. When I look at those three, right, where I have worn through all the embossing, so I will keep that. Right, we're kind of getting down to the dregs here. Elf, this is one of those mini bite-sized palettes, the Berry Bad palette. These were great palettes, like for what were they, $3 or something? Great palettes, love these colors. I'm gonna keep it. Elf, the New Classics. Beautiful color story here. You could do amazing looks with it. I'm just not going to. Bye-bye. This e.l.f. palette, what is, I can't even find a name on this one. I watched somebody do a look out of it and had to have it. I think I got it off of a Poshmark or something. And I have, like you can see, I have swatched 3 of the colors and not even used it. No, just not gonna bother. Jason Wu. People went on and on about these Jason Wu palettes that you got at Target. I returned one of them. It was so bad. This one is, which one is this? This is the Desert Rose palette. And clearly I liked it well enough that I kept it after returning the other one. I should probably use it. You know what? It goes in the use it and see if I still like it pile. Nabla is a brand that I really wanted to try because I've heard great things about them and I don't own anything. And I picked up this palette, the Nabla Dreamy 2 palette. To me, this is like a winter palette, right? These are some deep, rich, dark shades. And I think they swatch well. Yeah, I would say they swatch well. That matte is really, really wonderful. Yep, there you go. There are some more. So yes, I'm gonna keep that, and I will wait for some more wintry weather to start using it. KAB Cosmetics. This was definitely something that came in the subscription box. I shot a video of this. It's pretty. This is one, yeah, I would like to spend some time with. I'm going to put it in the use it and figure it out pile. Just did a full face get ready with me with this Dito Cosmetics. This is a gorgeous palette. Yes, I am keeping that one. Pure Be Your Selfie. Totally in my wheelhouse. These colors. Is it enough to make me want to keep it? Like, there's not a highlight. There is not a light highlight shade in this palette. That is a problem. Bye-bye. Oh, NYX Perfect Filter Golden Hour. This was a great palette. Really lovely color story, soft colors. Try it and see what I think. All right, these two, I haven't even thought about these since I did my declutter video 2 years ago. These are from I Heart Revolution. And while they were lovely color stories and I think pretty good quality, I mean, that's kind of a fun color story. And this is the Rose Gold Chocolate Palette. Pretty, right? It reminds me of like a Huda. Didn't Huda do a bigger palette that has all these colors in it? Okay, this one, the Chalk Mint, bye-bye. This one, the Rose Gold. Bye-bye. I just started looking at it. There's no highlight color in it. There's no light. And I just don't even want to give it a try. It's just going to go away. Okay. I'm making good progress. We're down to the end. We're almost there. Oh, Juno & Co. I got this off of Beautylish, and I want to say this palette was like $10, and I was blown away. It looks like they're kind of moving more into away from eyeshadow palettes, they only had like 2 or 3 that this came in, and this is gorgeous, lovely to work with for $10. Holy cow. Pick it up if they still have it. Definitely keeping that. Look, a teeny tiny palette from Lorac. Golden Eyes Hollywood Glamour mini palette. I don't know what I was thinking. Honestly, I do not know what I was thinking. Bye-bye. Milani, this palette is really old. It still is. We have a little packaging failure there. A gorgeous, you do some beautiful looks out of this palette. And I love, like, Milani tells you on the back, here's some ideas, right? Milani is a really good brand. I feel like, I don't know, I felt like for a while they were getting a lot of love, and they haven't been getting so much love. And I'll try it out. Okay. Wet and Wild, this one, oh my gosh. This was such a great palette for like no money. And not a lot of you watched that full face of Wet and Wild video. Go watch it. It was a good video. It's some good makeup for cheap, 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 cheap. Anyway, yes, I'm keeping that one. Almay did these quads, like this tone on tone quads. I hope my camera is picking up the very subtle differences in those colors. Yeah, I'm just not feeling that. And I have a couple of singles. This one's from Tarte. It's a beautiful color. I'd never reach for singles. And this one from Wander Beauty. I don't know. Ooh, I mean, look at that payout. But yeah, I'm not gonna reach for a single. Not gonna happen. And then the last thing here. These are all Sydney Grace eyeshadows. Sydney Grace does amazing eyeshadows. Super high quality, beautiful colors. Problem for somebody like me is buying singles to try to make a palette. Totally not my wheelhouse. I will certainly keep these. I feel like maybe what I need to do is go get a single from her that's a highlight shade, and maybe something deep, and make this a palette that would be really usable. So, there you go. Give me a second. Let me add up how many I'm doing away with and all that. There are 18 palettes that I am divesting myself of, and there are 5 that I'm going to try again to see whether I am keeping them or not. So, I think that's pretty good. Did you make it the whole way? Oh my goodness, bravo if you have made it. This was a really long video. So give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and have a fantastic day.